An old friend of mine who's a cardiologist told me something shocking. 40% of first heart attacks are fatal. For some people, this comes as a complete surprise, but for many, there were warning signs: diabetes, obesity, family history. Luckily, many people react to these warning signs before it's too late. Men's Health magazine runs this regular story called The Belly Off Club, which features someone like this man, Tom, who lost 150 pounds. Every story includes what the magazine describes as the wake-up call, that pivotal moment when the man realized something needed to change. He was out with his kids and was out of breath, or his doctor told him he would die. People do change, sometimes dramatically. They do what's required to thrive. Now, we, as a business community and as a species, are getting wake-up calls. Will we listen? The first call: record-setting heat, droughts, floods, and storms are becoming the norm. Last year, Australia had to change their maps to reflect temperatures ranging from 50 to 50 degrees centigrade, up to nearly 130 degrees Fahrenheit. The comedian Stephen Colbert commented at the time, "Well, that's in January. Imagine what it's like in the summer." It is the summer in Australia, in case you're... Kidding aside, the scientific community and the business community are telling us that extreme weather is already costing us billions of dollars. Climate change is not some model or future prediction to debate. We are now living in a hotter, more volatile world. The second wake-up call: the rising price of resources as 1 billion more people enter the middle class, demanding more of everything. In 1 year, China built 17 billion square feet of new space. Now picture all of the commercial buildings in Manhattan. In that 1 year, China built not one commercial Manhattan, but the equivalent of 30. This relentless rise in demand for resources is causing a change, a fundamental shift in how the world works. During the 20th century, according to McKinsey analysis, the cost of everything going into our economy, the commodities that we call metal and food and energy, dropped steadily, with exception for some world wars. But in this century, the prices rose dramatically, wiping out 100 years of productivity gains in just 10. We are living in a scarcer, more expensive time. And the third wake-up call acts as a multiplier on the other two. Radical, technology-driven transparency is opening up to public scrutiny everything about how a company does business, including its suppliers and its partners around the world. We can now ask and answer so many questions about every product. Where did it come from? Who made it? Were they paid a living wage? What's the carbon footprint? Did it use toxic elements or scarce resources? This hotter, scarcer, more open and connected world presents enormous risks, but huge opportunities. Trillion-dollar markets in energy, buildings, transportation, consumer products, and finance are all in play. I think business is uniquely qualified to tackle these challenges, but it's going to require a very deep change in how we do business, what I'm calling the big pivot. Now, today, companies maximize short-term earnings and then get to these big shared environmental and social challenges when there's easy wins or there's enough pressure from outsiders. We need to flip our priorities and operate in a way that tackles our largest challenges first and then works back from there to find a way that uses capitalism and markets and all of the tools we have to do it most profitably. This is about resilience. When Hurricane Sandy hit New York, we learned how fragile we really are. The seas rushed into lower Manhattan, and a part of the electric grid, a transponder, exploded, plunging lower Manhattan, the heart of the business world, the heart of the financial world, into darkness for 4 days. We need to lessen our dependency on old technologies and ancient fuels. Europe is waking up to the fact that 1/3 of its coal, oil, and natural gas comes from this man. This is my favorite picture of a world leader ever. Europe has not been resilient to Hurricane Putin, as I like to call it. Now, Germany and Switzerland and other countries, They're moving away from fossil fuels as fast as they can. And companies around the world are realizing they need to move quickly to the clean economy as well. Walmart is the largest buyer of solar power in the country outside of the military. And when they announced an increasing commitment to renewables, one of the top executives said, hey, this keeps us open and running, no matter what the weather is, no matter who else might be down. This is strong resilience, aggressive resilience. We can sell more stuff because we're independent and we're flexible. But how do we capture this resilience and the big pivot? Well, out of 10 strategies that I think are required, I'm focusing today just on 3 really critical issues that change how we see the world, our vision and our perspective. First, we need to fight the plague of short-termism in business. Corporate leaders are trying to please Wall Street, which is now more of a casino than a market, where over half the shares are bought and sold in milliseconds, less than a blink of an eye. How can that be about fundamental value? A few CEOs like Unilever's Paul Polman are fighting short-termism by changing the conversation with Wall Street, or by stopping those quarterly meetings with investors that don't care about real value creation. Second, we need to set bold, science-based goals. In business, we set our targets bottom up, asking everybody how much they think they can do. But now imagine we were all in a boat and it was filling with water. What we would not do is ask everyone, how much do you think you can bail today? How much do you feel like you can do? No, we'd start bailing immediately, and we'd figure out how much we have to bail to stay afloat. We now know how fast we need to go, on carbon in particular. The numbers guys at PwC have calculated that we need to reduce the amount of carbon per dollar of GDP by more than 6% per year indefinitely. It's far faster than we're going today. Now, a few companies have done what's required and set their goals based on science. Ford Motor Company figured out what its vehicles would need to look like in the coming years to help the world meet the carbon reduction goals. Better engines, biofuels, electrification, and much more. This strategy led directly to the announcement that the F-150 for 2015 would be 700 pounds lighter due to a shift from steel to aluminum. This is risky, heretical work for Ford. I mean, this is their #1 best-selling, most profitable vehicle that they're fundamentally altering. It's a pretty big pivot, but consider now also Tesla, the most successful maker of electric cars, that's asking an even more heretical question. Why do we need an internal combustion engine? And this brings me to my third strategy, which is asking heretical questions that challenge the way we do things. Can we collaborate with our direct competitors, or even with our bitter critics, to solve big challenges? Can we operate with no fossil fuels or water? This building, the Bullitt Center in Seattle, generates more energy than it needs. So can we build so-called regenerative businesses and products that, through their existence, improve the world? Yes. Can we challenge business models? CVS, a major drugstore chain with $125 billion in sales, stopped selling tobacco recently and renamed itself CVS Health. They asked a heretical question. Can we stop selling products that don't fit with our strategy of improving people's health, or stop supporting products that have no place in a thriving, prosperous world? Some companies are trying now to connect their products to purpose, a larger purpose like bringing energy or water to the developing world, or teaching young children hand-washing skills to save lives like Unilever's doing. Now, this may sound like philanthropy, and on some level, of course it is, but there's also a cold, hard business logic here. If children don't survive easily preventable diseases, they can't grow up to contribute to society or become part of the marketplace as customers or employees. If people have no water or energy, they can't buy detergent or computers. As many wise people have said, business cannot thrive unless society and the planet are thriving as well. We're not separate. Our mega challenges and our economies are all connected. So let me ask you, how will you challenge how you live and how you do business to deal with the realities we face and take advantage of the opportunities? We need business to innovate and create new products, new business models that bring about a thriving future. We need business leaders to think with their heads and their wallets for sure, but also with their hearts. What's your heresy? What if our future and our lives depended on the answers? Because they do. Thank you.